If you are taking a CFA exam in the upcoming week or so, best of luck. I seriously mean that. I'm just coming at you with a quick video here to make a couple of important points, in my opinion. I've been in your shoes on a few different occasions, and it's honestly a crazy place in life to be the week before you're sitting for one of the CFA exams because of the amount of preparation that you've put into this thing, building up to this point, because of the weight of the moment and the nerves that may be bringing you, and because of the nature of the CFA program being that you really only truly sit to perform one time, at least per level, whereas with most other academic programs, maybe you have like more formalized quizzes along the way, or with sports, you have multiple games along the way. The CFA exams are just study for 6 months and then do or die, which is all in all, all of those factors just create a really unique, sometimes once in a lifetime type of experience. I've shared on this channel that I think you should try to appreciate where you're at from an academic perspective, from a preparation perspective, and also just where you're at in life in being able to actually prepare as well for this upcoming exam as you have. Many people in their lifetimes will not ever even try to achieve something of this level of difficulty, and many of you watching this video probably will pass that upcoming exam, especially if you heed the couple of tips that I have to share with you. These 2 tips are not anything brand new. I've uploaded multiple videos on this channel over the years about each of these 2 things separately, but again, we're just going to talk about first and foremost the secret to passing the CFA exams. I've considered this sort of the secret or the biggest differentiating factor between those candidates who pass and fail. Even since I was a candidate, I've talked about it as such on this YouTube channel since then, and in any emailing and commenting that I've done with other candidates along the way. And I don't know if I've ever had anyone actually disagree that your prep in the last week in what I'm calling the secret to passing the exams, which by the way is memorizing formulas. I don't know if I've ever had anyone disagree that that is not a critical component to passing one of the CFA exams. I have had probably hundreds of people at this point leave comments in the other videos where I've talked about this topic, or just send me emails saying, "Hey AJ, that was extremely helpful. I don't think I could have passed my exam," or "I felt really good after taking my exam. I don't think I would have done as well had I not taken that tip." And by the way, this isn't anything I came up with. This is a tip that Mark Meldrum gave to me through a YouTube video when I was a CFA candidate. I think it was a video he uploaded in 2015. It was actually a pretty funny video if I remember correctly, because he cracked a few jokes at the end of it. But basically, Mark said, hey, especially for the level 1 exam, and I found this to be true for myself too, it is critically important that you memorize every single formula that you used to answer any potential question, or not even that you have used, but that could be used to answer any potential question that that is considered fair game. Any question that is drawn from the curriculum of the CFA program. So the formula memorization process is pretty simple. I say you spend 2 days doing this, 24 hours total, 2 full days is what I'm saying. And I realize this video will be uploaded Wednesday night or Thursday morning of the 2024 February level 1 exam week. Some of you may have taken the exam in the past couple of days, but I don't think most people sit on Monday or Tuesday of this 1 week block. I think many of you will be doing it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that gives you a little bit of time, if you haven't already started memorizing formulas, to do just that. But the process is pretty simple. I'm not going to outline it in detail in this video. You can watch Mark talking about it or myself talking about it in other videos on the channel. But long story short, you have to have a good source of all the formulas that you've used to answer any questions. If you have a test prep package, they probably give you a formula sheet. Now, personally, I used Wiley. I felt their formula sheets were too long. I had to condense those. You may have your own notes from throughout the prior months, including any formulas. Hopefully you circled or starred any formulas that you may have known at the time that you probably would want to commit to memory. I personally have my formula sheets available on my Patreon page. You can check those out for 20 bucks. They're getting a little outdated. I did update each of them at one point 2 years ago, so they're closer to relevant, but I think the majority of the formulas that you would need to pass are on those formula sheets that I use to study from. So however you need to get these formulas, you need to sit down, take a good chunk of time, and actually just focus on directly memorizing all of them, literally all of them. Look at the other videos I've posted or Mark has talked about this strategy on, just to hear, the details on what a good memorization process should look like. Maybe you already have an idea on what just stone cold memorization should look like for you. Like if you were in some kind of, I don't know, I have some Jewish friends who memorized like big chunks of the entire Bible, the Jewish Bible or Hebrew Bible. Those people have practiced just pure memorization techniques. If you already have those techniques down, great, go for it. I don't care which techniques you use. I think the ones that Mark talked about, that I used and I've talked about, are great actually, which just involve handwriting every single formula like 10, 15, 20 times, repeating them back to yourself, practicing some of these formulas again the morning of the exam, all of that. I sit here to tell you that especially on the level 1 exam, you could have prepared very well and maybe you'll get 55% of the questions right and fail the exam if you don't memorize any formulas. If you do this exercise, and let's say you actually hadn't committed any formulas to memory through all your practice, which isn't very likely, but just for the point of the illustration, you knew the information but you couldn't remember the formulas, 55%. Now if you memorize all the formulas, you might get a 75% or 80% or something like that. So I'm just saying, based on the nature of a lot of level 1 CFA exam questions, being that they're sort of shorter and they're not like writing out explanations or needing to think through more information like level 2 and 3 might include, you're just going to have a lot of plug and chug algebra, econ, what's the GDP of this or that. There's 3 variables in the question. You need to know how to use which 2 to use. You use 2 of them, that spits out an answer. You just have to know the formula to answer that type of question correctly. So formula memorization, critical. Again, my words, it's the secret to passing any of the CFA exams. Make sure that you take advantage of that. The other quick point that I want to make for this short video, because I don't want to take too much of your time during exam week, is to relax the day before. And this is going to be a recommendation that I'd make to 90% of candidates. Now, if you're someone who's studied less than 100 hours and you're trying to still cover practice questions that are maybe even new to you still at this point, then you need to grind out as much studying as possible, 16 hours the day before the exam, because going from 84 hours to 100 hours with another 16 might make a big difference in the amount of content you can cover, okay? But I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the 90 or 95% of candidates who have put in enough time, 300, 400, sometimes 500 or more hours. You have been through just about every type of practice question that you could face. So the point is that doing 10 more hours of practice questions the day before the exam, 24 hours before you sit for your exam, is not going to make that much big of a marginal difference in the exposure to information you've gotten. Whereas relaxing for the 24 hours leading up to your exam is going to help you feel totally at ease. That's not fair. It's going to help you feel more at ease. It's going to refresh your mind, and most importantly probably rest your mind, such that the following day when you sit for the real deal, you'll feel much more fresh. You will be much more ready. Your brain will be more ready to start recalling information that you may have studied 2 weeks or even 2 months ago that it needs to be able to recall in order to answer questions correctly. So again, assuming you've prepared enough, in my opinion, it's far more valuable to take the day off right before the exam. Now, don't sit around all day and feel like a lazy slob. We've all done that probably plenty of times. And you might know what I mean, like, 9:30 p.m. comes around and you're like, oh man, I haven't done anything all day. I've eaten like crap. I just feel awful. That's not what you want to do the day before your CFA exam. Ideally, you can do a few things around the house, get things prepared, clean things if that's what makes you feel accomplished, mark things off a task sheet if that's what makes you feel accomplished, talk to some family or friends just to catch up with people. Actually, beneficial life actions that eat well, that type of thing. Make sure you get enough sleep the night before. All these things that lend themselves towards feeling good are the types of activities I would recommend partaking in the 24 hours leading up to your CFA exam. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. Remember, the secret is memorizing all the formulas you're going to need to know, and I recommend taking 24 hours off leading up to that test. Now, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Good luck.